Hello everyone, my name is Christopher, and today I'm going to be talking about how I landed my job in cybersecurity in 2025. A little bit about my background is I worked pretty much retail jobs, or I worked in delivery services, so for FedEx and UPS as well. Did a little bit of administration work a couple years ago, so working through different companies. I'll say in relations to an ARF facility, so adult residential facility for people that need assisted living, that have mental disabilities, and specifically in cybersecurity I am going to be working as an IM engineer. Not going to particularly talk about the company just yet, just because I haven't started just yet. I just wanted to wait till I was able to sign off on everything. My offer fully went through my background check, did my drug screening, of course, passed those, and my first day starting work will be tomorrow, and I will be uploading a video, of course, on how my first day goes. I know I'm probably not going to do too much though with that, because I know on the first day they're just going to be talking to IT, HR around getting my equipment and getting me set up for what I'm going to be doing at my new role. So, just starting off a little bit with my background. Like I said, I worked in retail, so I worked in FedEx, I worked for Amazon, I worked in sales before, I've worked in different skills that can be useful in cybersecurity. So as an administrator, I ran the household when it came to setting up appointments, when it came to dealing with electronics in the home, as well as like internet, email, and basically getting everything running for the company. So that point gave me things that are useful in cybersecurity. Amazon and FedEx, I'm pretty sure that there's things that I've done in there that have kind of helped me out with cybersecurity and given me tools that I can use in my cybersecurity field besides just technical skills. And other than that, I've worked as a server, so I've dealt with customers face to face a lot, and have a lot of soft skills relating to that. I didn't really come from an IT background, but a little bit about me is growing up I was always playing video games. I actually competed a little bit in like Call of Duty a lot back in the day. Went to LAN events, and even competing in online tournaments and wagers and things like that. So I was always very competitive with gaming, and even before that did things like modding or jailbreaking iPhones and building my own PC from scratch and things like that. So I was always very technical when it came to that. I was always like finding ways to modify systems, or finding ways to make things easier for myself, or make it more fun. So I was always kind of in that role, kind of had that mentality where I was always good with electronics and everything like that. Even my family would always come to me with electronic questions about their phones or laptops or things, resetting routers and things like that. I was always good at that. So I didn't go to college. I went to college for a little while, but I was working as well, and college really wasn't the path for me. I didn't really like school much. Played sports at the schools that I went to, so I was really more athletic, and tried to do things that way. And when it came to cybersecurity, it was something that just intrigued me. With when I kind of seen it a little bit during COVID, and people were talking about it, but I didn't really pay too much mind. A couple years later, when I was working as an administrator, it kind of caught my attention a lot more, like in 2023, and that's kind of when I started my little journey in cybersecurity. The first cert I ever got was my Google cybersecurity professional certification, and I ain't even gonna lie, I kind of was like in a dumb mind frame where I was like, oh, if I get this one cert, I'm gonna get a job and I'm gonna be making 100K. Like I don't know, it's just something that we all think about, like you think it's gonna be easy, and here I am 2 years later getting my job. I was definitely gullible, and I was definitely naive, thinking that was gonna happen when that wasn't the case at all. Got that certification, and then I tried to get another cert. I was going for my blue team level 1, because I don't know why. I was either gonna do that or the CompTIA like Sec Plus, but the blue team level 1 was more of what I want to do. I wanted to originally do SOC analyst, just to it was the easiest field to get in, of course, like everybody thinks, and you think you're just going to get it if you get a cert or two and a couple projects done. So throughout the year I was just doing a couple projects. My blue team level 1 certification came, and even though I completed all the assignments, I felt like I had an understanding, I did not pass that cert. I tried twice, didn't pass it either time, and I was kind of shaken up about it a little bit, and then I enrolled for the CompTIA Security Plus, not thinking it was easier, but me not passing the blue team level one cert and not really knowing why specifically. They tell you why. It's a great cert if you are interested in SOC. I would suggest getting it, but it just, I wasn't understanding why, like how to find certain things, and I was just kind of stuck. Then I would say I went for the CompTIA cert and was studying for it like a lot, and you know, doing my work, and studied for a couple months, and not even a couple months, I would say like about a month, maybe 4 weeks consecutively, like just consistently studying more than 3 hours a day. And I did not pass the first cert. I was both times I had it, because of course I bought the 2 cert one, and I ain't gonna say devastated, but I definitely was like, I took a step back from cybersecurity after that, because it was just like, I'm a person that believes in investing in what you want. Like, I'm not going to be the person just to go on YouTube and think I'm going to just try to find something to pass it. I always invest in everything. I've invested probably tens of thousands in coaching. I would say over $10,000 in coaching, no matter what I've done. And I've tried a lot of things. Between drop shipping, Amazon FBA, I've done sales training. I've invested a lot into myself, which I think ultimately helped me land this job in ways which I'll talk a little bit later in the video. But when it came to the cert, I didn't pass it, and I basically ended up taking a step back from cybersecurity altogether after that. I ended up moving from my original city to another city, moved from Los Angeles, where I was born and raised, to Atlanta, and I was kind of the point where I was going to start drop shipping again, because I felt like when I first tried it, even though I had a mentor, I was not even a mentor, even though I paid for a program, I kind of didn't have a full understanding. So I tried it again, and even though like I was getting it a lot, I was making decent money on the side after I always had a job, I was like, I don't know, I was talking to other people, and they were telling me the same thing. They were like, don't just give up on what you were already trying to do. And so I tried the CompTIA Security Plus again. This time I bought another 2 test retakes, and with that I passed it with flying colors. Passed it with a very high score, only missing I think like 5 or 6 questions on it, and ended up getting my certification for that. And with that certification, I knew I was gonna have to get a mentor like more local to out here in Atlanta. I know the tech scene out here is a very decent sized tech scene. It is in Silicon Valley, or I would say like maybe Austin, but it's very high for at least people in my my background, I would say, culturally. So I looked for a mentor or coaching out here, and I ended up finding coaching and invested even more into the coaching for that. Even with drop shipping, I invested in a coach for that, so I spent more than $1,000 for that coaching, more than $1,000 for the coaching, and getting and helping me out with navigating my cybersecurity journey and finding what I wanted to do, because there is a long map of things that you can do, or a large job selection of things you can do. So I invested in the coaching, and kind of got a little roadmap of what I did. I did the one-on-ones with our coaches that are in the program, and it helped me out a lot. And they kind of helped me with resume building, and with all my projects and past experiences that I've had that have given me experience in cybersecurity that I didn't even know about. Technical skills from my past jobs, like hooking up routers and setting up firewalls for the past company. I didn't know things like that were things that I could put on my resume, because it just wasn't even in my mindset. That's why I say invest in coaching. They know the things that you don't know that will help you in landing a position. So after I got this coaching and my resume help, I immediately started applying. I applied to over 30 jobs a day. No matter how old the jobs were, I was applying to those. And then people say you think you applied to all the jobs, and there's not enough new jobs coming that you can apply for. My thing is, I have a whiteboard to my left right here that I put consistent goals on that I want to hit. And with my goals, I have objectives every day that I want to hit. So my goals for on this board would say, get a job offer for one of them right here. So one of my objectives, or my weekly to-dos or daily to-dos right here, is to apply to 20 jobs a day, and applying to over 120 jobs a week. I did that for multiple months. I think I was in the program for 2 months before I got my first offer letter. And leading up to that, I was not saying that I was discouraged, because I seen other people getting jobs in the program. They say they were getting faster and blah blah blah. You guys just put your head down and just to continue to do. Don't look at any other That's why I say social media is kind of bad, because like me even seeing on a Discord chat that I'm in this group for, seeing other people basically, you know, get jobs and they've been in there less time than me. I'm trying to compare myself to them. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Just, you know, continue to put your head down, continue to hit your objectives daily, and your goal will come, bro. Your goal is not going to come from you just putting, oh, I want to get a job offer, and not doing something every day that's going to move you closer to those goals. So in continuing with that, applying to over 20 jobs a day on multiple job sites. Shout out to the mentors in the program, because they gave me good job sites to apply to. I was applying to over six different job postings, getting 20 to 30 or 20 to 40 applications a day in. There's plenty of job sites for you guys to do this on. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to continuously be applying. Even some days I would have where I'm applying to the same job multiple times a day. Am I gonna stop because I think I've applied to too many? No, I'm gonna continue to post, or continue to apply on these jobs, and continue to find more jobs to apply for, that is around my skill set. And a little bit more how I got into IM. One of the mentors in the program, he is an IM engineer, like a high-level IM engineer, and he's been in this business for over 6 years. So you know, it was someone I looked up to when I seen, you know, who he is. And even you got to kind of take it on the chin because this person's even younger than me, and it's like I can't think like, oh, because I'm older I should be higher than he is or do whatever. No, I'm not, you know, prideful like that. I'm going to learn from whoever has the ability to teach, who has the ability for them to be in the position that I want to be in. So shout out to them. Shout out to Kyle actually for that. He's one of the mentors. You know, I'm not just throwing the program out there only because, you know, I pay for this program fully, and even though I believe in the program, it'd have to be something for him to tell me it's okay for me to do that. So, you know, if he posts in the comment section, shout out to you, Kyle, both of you guys, and Omar, if you guys want me to put you guys this link in there, just let me know. But fast forward, after 2 months, you know, applying, I'd say after a month I started to get reach backs about interviews, and they're not just like full interviews. I would get reach back by recruiters, getting just introductories in, and they weren't really full interviews. And then after a month I would get I got full interviews. I interviewed, I would say, at least 6-7 times before getting a call back from this job. One thing I could tell you is that take every job. I mean, I don't have kids, you know, or I don't have currently dating someone, but I didn't have any attachments to where if I needed to leave, that it still was going to happen. Like even now, if I would have had to leave for this job, I was going to do it, just because, you know, you got to have that mentality that you got to do whatever it takes to get into this, to get what you want. And you can't let anything hold you back. And not even saying that a person's going to hold you back, but in order to get into this industry and be able to thrive in it and survive, I have the mentality that you got to give your all, and you got to be able to do anything it takes to get into it. So not like morally, but, you know, if you're going to want to work remote because you're like, oh, remote's fun, and, you know, it's going to have me be at home and it's going to be a cushy thing. No, I was applying to everything. On-site, I was applying to on-site, hybrid, I was applying to remote roles, I was applying everywhere. So, and the crazy thing is, I'll get into this part of the video where I talk about how I kind of got this job, because it's kind of funny. I'm taking interviews from different companies, Fortune 100 companies, banks that, and I take interviews from that, and they were large companies, right? And then it's funny how this interview for this job that I landed, I didn't even want to take. I wasn't going to take because I had interviews for another company, 3 other companies at the time, and I think it was 4. It was either 4 or 3 other companies, and I didn't even feel like, and it was an on-site, and me, you know, coming from my background, I didn't really interview a lot for roles that I've had in the past. It was kind of either, you know, I had an in to what I was in. So whether that be a person or I had somebody that I knew, it's kind of how I got my start in those industries and in those jobs. I didn't really have to interview too much. It was more like I just got the job, so I didn't feel comfortable with it. But I don't know what it was. I think it was, if it was somebody close to me told me that, or it was just, you know, I just had a feeling where I'm like, I'm going to take everything. So even with me not being comfortable with the interview in person, I still took the interview, and it even ended up being crazy because with that interview, was supposed to be in person. Basically the CISO or the cyber manager basically there told me that, you know, the day before he told me he was a little sick, so they were going to take it online. So we ended up just doing a Zoom meeting, which was, I mean, it was cool anyway, but I was prepared regardless. During that stage, I prepared every day for over 4 hours, just stocking in on either questions, you know, interview questions, and, you know, studying up on material about, like, you know, common tools that they use in this position, for this particular job. So I felt like I was fully ready for it. Going into the interview, it's crazy how I'm expecting it to be this technical interview, and one thing that the mentors are telling me is that, like, you know, your job is to get this person to like you. One, you're supposed to be prepared, but two, they're going to hire somebody that they think that they can mesh well with, the team can mesh well with. I was in this interview, we talked probably for like 5 minutes total about technical aspects about the job, and it wasn't even like, didn't ask me drill questions like, did you know this, do you know this, what is this, what is that. It was more like, these are the tools that we're going to be using, you know, do you have experience with these tools, which I did, and what they're looking to do in the future, and what common problems or vulnerabilities they were having currently that they wanted to touch up on. And that was it out of the whole basically 45-minute to an hour interview that it was. And the other 30 minutes, I would guess, because it was only like 15 minutes or 10 minutes, the other 30 minutes we were just talking man to man with this particular person and with the manager. And I was just, you know, we were chopping it up. We were talking about, you know, where I was from, where he was from, where I grew up at, you know, even in the area where I live in, because he knows the area. He was talking, it was so non-technical, like techie interview. It was more of just like, basically, you know, he just wanted to see who I was as a person, you know, and to see if I would mesh well. And even at the end of the interview, he was telling me, you know, that I wasn't so PC. I would say, you know, for certain companies, if they're not a Fortune 100 company, you don't have to be super PC, or you don't have to be super just, you know, penciled in and straight necked. And, you know, you can sit straight, you know, and you could talk to them like a man, or talk to them like a respected woman. And you just have to be likable. You want to be the most likable person, and you want to be somebody that can mesh with. And then when they hit you with technical questions, you want to know what you're talking about, because if you don't, then they're not going to hire you, of course. But I would say your soft skills are more important when it comes to the interview phase, because you can always just learn what you can always learn something like technical questions, because they're all out there. They're not asking, in any of the interviews I did, none of the questions were something that I haven't heard before. After like the 5th interview, I heard the questions before for the specific job title, and I felt comfortable answering them. It was just more of them trying to fill you out as a person, and you want to be the most likable person. If you're the most likable person, then they feel like they can mesh well with you. Like my manager said, you know, he put the offer in within 5 minutes of us ending the call, and I got a call back from the recruiter who recommended me, and he said this is the fastest interview to turnover ratio to presenting an offer that he's ever seen in his company that he recruits for, like his recruiting company. And I was like, it seemed like he liked me, but I was just like, you know, he didn't really ask me super technical questions. Maybe he didn't, you know how that was going to work out. So I was like, it was just surprising. And that's how I like initially landed the role. And yeah, so first thing I can say is thank you if you guys made it this far in the video. Again, my name is Christopher. If you have any questions in the comment section, just go ahead. I'll be responding to all of them. I would say just, you know, hit me up in the comment section and ask me any questions you have. And I will be posting another video as well of how my first day goes. So be tuned for that and be ready for when that's posted. So yeah, shout out to you guys. Thank you for this, and I'll see you guys in another video. Peace.